Askreddit Asks, pro-life people of Reddit, if abortion was stopped, what would be the plan to ensure the welfare of the thousands of neglected and unwanted children?
Needs a serious tag. Even jokes about abortion need a serious tag.
More like a bait tag.
Or all questions should be serious by default and there should be a frivolous tag. May I suggest a modest proposal?
I respect your swift response.
For those who don't get it. URL redacted.
IDKY. The term pro-life comes with the assumption that I want to ban abortion completely. But I would much rather put resources towards expanding access to multiple forms of birth control instead of normalizing abortion as anything but an emergency procedure.
Pro-choice means we want the choice to exist. Not that we want people to choose it. You're pro-choice.
Nobody wants to go out and get an abortion. It's not like a woman wakes up and goes, "Today I'm going to go get pregnant just so I can get an abortion." Pro-choice includes the choice of birth control.
Do what they did in Ireland. Send the women to institutions. Knock them out during labor. Tell them the baby died. Sell the baby off for adoption. Profit. Seriously, this happened to thousands of babies over decades. URL redacted.
In Spain we had also something similar. Single mothers or poor people were told the babies died during the delivery. But the truth is they were sold to another families.
Or they just dumped them into the septic tanks of the laundries the women were forced to work in. Sometimes for the rest of their lives.
Doesn't seem like anyone's too concerned about the thousands we already have.
Hundreds of thousands. Hundreds of thousands.
Blame the cost of adoption for that. It shouldn't cost 20 to 30k to adopt a kid if you want to be parents. Indeed, 300k in foster care last time I looked at the number. But only 1 to 10 to Christian churches. 3M.
I don't have an answer for this. But I have a baby with special needs. I was given the option to abort but choose not to. Not for religious reasons or being anti-abortion, I just felt like having the kid was the right choice. Unfortunately, I've come to realize there's very little government help for special needs kids. I make too much money for any assistance. I'm lucky enough that he gets free healthcare, but that is it. If people are so against abortion, then there needs to be more resources. I was under the impression that there would be a lot more help and there simply isn't. I love my son and I don't regret him at all. I just wish I could afford to send him to a licensed daycare that could give him the care he needs while I work.
An affordable adoption process.
Just go with the old plan of letting them run around in the streets till they're old enough to become career criminals.
Or drafted troops. D.
Career nah. As soon as they're old enough to get arrested instead of sent to UV. You chuck them in the clink and pay them 25 cents an hour to make military armor.
This question completely ignores the pro-life stance, and it's almost nonsensical from that standpoint. Imagine there was a policy in place where we just kill off all homeless people. A new law is proposed that stops this practice. Are you going to ask, what is your alternative plan to dealing with these homeless people? If we're not going to be able to kill them anymore? Is that the question you would really ask? Thank you for helping me understand other people's POV a little better.
Limit the number of unwanted pregnancies via access to free birth control for all, including minors who don't want their parents to know. And education about birth control options and options besides abortion if an unwanted pregnancy does occur. Someone else mentioned easy access to volunteer sterilization. I like that idea as long as precautions are taken to make sure no one is pressured into it. Affordable adoption. Raise taxes especially on the mega-rich to fund universal health care and other programs specifically targeted at making sure all children are well fed, educated, and cared for. In a perfect world I would want no abortion except to save the life of the mother. But I know making it illegal will not stop it. So I would want it to only be illegal after a certain cutoff point. Not sure exactly what the cutoff should be. but 15 weeks at the earliest. This is exactly my stance as well, but I consider myself a pro-choice. Why do you consider yourself pro-life and not choice?
Reddit. Why can't I peacefully euthanize the children I don't want? Are you going to take care of them? Question mark. Quote question mark. I'm pro-choice. But come on, if you look at it from the stated perspective of abortion being murder, then this question is ridiculous. We don't kill people who haven't done anything wrong, and we don't kill children. Neglected and unwanted is probably better than murdered. And even if it isn't, a third party probably shouldn't make that choice. You don't get to take someone's life for a vague societal gain. The better question to ask is whether they think when a cluster of cells gains personhood. Or ask yourself whether a parent's right to avoid a temporary illness should supersede their offspring's entire right to life. Edit. Goddamn, why do I contribute to controversial subjects on this site? I'm done. EDIT2. You pulled me back in. I'm muting the inbox. This has been a thought of mine for many years. I am a Christian and a father who loves his family. Since I became a father later in life, I would never think about having an abortion. However, mercy, common sense and empathy dictate that you have to think about each case of unwanted pregnancy on an individual basis and provide appropriate advice and support to the mother and the baby. Many people who are out there fighting to stop abortions are not really pro-life, they are pro-birth. Once the baby is born, many could care less what happens to it. Pro-life is for life. In fact, many anti-abortion activists also want to eliminate most social programs designed to help people take care of unwanted babies, such as help with adoption costs, provide quality housing and educations to both the mother and child in order to try and get them out of poverty, providing free childcare while the mother goes to school or until her income can pay for it without making both her and her baby homeless, in essence. Expand the social net to ensure the well-being of the child whose life you so zealously defend. Adequately fund and monitor state-run foster care in order to ensure that the child is being raised in a safe environment in order to protect against physical and sexual abuse and assault. You can't buy love, but as a society we can at least provide a good education and a decent upbringing. No one wants a pit bull that has been chained up, abused, untrained and hungry set loose in the backyard. But many people fail to see that in failing to provide a stable, caring, nurturing environment for these unwanted kids. We are creating monsters who are far more dangerous, cunning and scary than a mere dog. TL. Doctor. Take care of the mother and baby like they were your family, or at least how you would want your family treated if you couldn't do it yourself. As a society, we would all be better off.
Promote adoption over having kids. Let homosexuals adopt. Improve contraception access and sex education.
Improve contraception access and sex education. This is something Planned Parenthood does, but a lot of the anti-abortion people seem to ignore it and want to shut it down.
Homosexuals, FYI, we prefer the gays. Thanks.
Primarily reducing the ridiculous stringency on adoption procedures. At least in the US. There are long waiting lists for adoptions, but the requirements and prices are kind of nuts. I do feel that this question, and many like it, point towards a dangerous assumption that a child is better off never being born than being born into poor conditions or with a defect. I just don't believe that to be the case. Edit. Too many replies to answer by now. But most of my responses are pretty standard pro-life positions that you've likely heard before. 1. Some are saying that it is ethical to end a life to prevent suffering. No, it's not. I'm willing to bet many of us have experienced cases of the immeasurable joy and goodness that can come to others through a life of someone else, even though that person themselves may be suffering. Additionally, suicide is still illegal, even though those who commit it are often suffering immeasurably. 2. Many others have commented this already. But if you believe that abortion is murder, the original post is kind of a bad question. Just because someone can't be perfectly taken care of doesn't mean you kill them instead. 3. I know pregnancy is a difficult process. And I don't mean to be insensitive towards women who go through it. My mom is my hero. I just don't believe that the woman's discomfort is license to kill. 4. I am aware of very special cases like rape and the guaranteed death of the child through illness. Even in the case of rape, I refer to no. 3. However, I do believe we should make special cases for these. But like I said, 90+% of abortions are due to convenience and economic reasons. And that's what pro-life people like me take issue with.
Gotta love it when people think they're an exception to questions like this, all these commenters mocking people with different reasoning than them. Please, go bash pro-lifers' beliefs somewhere else. We're here to find out their reasoning, not to belittle them. Reddit can be so disgusting sometimes. Given the way Op phrased the prompt, I think his point was to belittle pro-lifers.
I was gonna say that it's a bit of a loaded question.
ITT. Pro-lifers being grilled over a question that's obviously setting them up for failure.
Hey guys, please ruin your day by posting here so you can get yelled at for your beliefs.
I'm not really on either side of that debate. But one easy answer to your question is to look at how long the waiting list is to adopt newborns. Couples wait years for the chance to adopt.
Keyword being newborns, not children. Source: I am adopted.
I feel like this is a loaded question.
It is one.
Pro-life individual here. I doubt there is any new or concerted level of planning that has arisen to address the inevitable highly increased number of unwanted children, if Roe v. Wade were overturned. For the most part, pro-life movements are embedded within various religious faiths, Catholic and Protestant. As examples, many would cite adoption and foster homes as the primary outlet, aside from encouraging the mother and father to raise the child, themselves. Sociologically, it is possible that individuals who would have rather focused on adopting from a country overseas may reconsider and seek to adopt from within the U.S. An example of overseas adoption would be when I was in Haiti on a mission a few years back. And there was a couple that went through a long, arduous process of adopting a Haitian child. From an economic standpoint, one short-term measure would be to redirect grant resources from agencies that provide or refer for abortion to agencies that would care for such children and get them on the path to a solid education. I fully acknowledge that this is a grotesquely incomplete strategy, as many inner-city children are currently neglected in their need for quality education. Abortion is an efficient solution to unwanted pregnancy. Our collective position has always been that it is not a moral solution. The burden of newly unwanted children will no doubt be a considerable one, as has occurred throughout history. We adapt.
Leading question. People who are against abortion believe that it is murder. In their eyes, you are suggesting that the fact that the kid will be unwanted means it's okay to murder them. They don't see a moral difference between aborting a fetus and killing a kid after they're born. I'm not saying I agree or disagree with this stance. I honestly don't know which side I agree with. But it's important to understand the opposing argument.
Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe to support the channel, and above all, have an excellent day, you marvelous people.